This is the Gronk Fitness leg extension leg curl. It's a combo unit. I want to show you how it works. You basically pop this pop in at the place that you'd like so you can affect the strength curve. So I'll talk more on that in a moment. I just smashed my foot. Gosh dang. Try and play it off like it didn't hurt. You can adjust the strength curve. So right now, all the tension is at the top. But what's cool is you can adjust this so that you put it higher because it's 360-degree plate, and then you're able to have the tension higher at more of the stretch portion. So if I got in this like this, now you have a lot of tension because this is basically parallel to the ground and less at the top. But you can also use it for leg extensions. This is not the only piece of equipment that does this type of thing. There's actually quite a few out there, but this one has some very interesting features that I think make it better in some ways than others. Let's get into the review. Hey guys, this is Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the Gronk Fitness leg extension leg curl. Gronk Fitness has started to come out with more and more equipment. We've reviewed a couple of their pieces. Basically, they're doing, I would say, a lot of what Titan is doing in coming out with home gym pieces that are like plate loaded, basically taking commercial pieces, trying to create combo units and making them plate loaded at like a budget friendly price. So basically people can go from using a commercial gym to a home gym, or if they like to bodybuild, don't want to spend the egregious amount of money that a lot of bodybuilding machine type equipment costs, you can have that. And this is a good example. I will say overall, what I found is the quality of their pieces is higher than Titan's. And this one is no exception. This is not the only design that does this. It is a combo leg extension leg curl, as I showed you in the intro, and it is plate loaded. Now I have some problems with this design. There's positives and negatives, as you'd probably expect for the price point. This is not as good as what you'd find with a commercial version. Now, I'm fine with a plate-loaded leg extension leg curl. In fact, I would say the best plate-loaded leg extension in the world is Prime Fitness's. And the reason is because they have the 3 weight horns so you can adjust the strength curve. In fact, that's one that I'm kind of planning on doing a pre-order on because it takes a freaking year to get it. Can you believe that? But they have a leg extension leg curl combo that's plate-loaded with their technology. That is really what I think is the GOAT plate-loaded version, but it's also like $4 or $5 grand, including shipping. It's insane. This is much less. This is gonna be an honest review. Where this has some problems is with the design inherently, and you're giving up some things that you would get, say, with a stack or a higher end plate-loaded version. Basically, that has to do with the strength curve. This has a radial arm with a 360-degree plate that allows you to have holes all throughout. This one has 23 holes, so basically just a crazy amount of holes, so you can fit it for the particular exercise you want to do, also fit it for the strength curve that you want to have, or fit it for your size. So benefits there in that they just didn't put holes randomly, they put them all the way around, and they're tight holes. There's just a lot of them, so you can find the one that fits. The problem comes in finding the strength curve that most mimics what you want to do. Now, as I said in the beginning, most evidence-based trainers that you see online today, like Jeff Nippard, Mike Israetel, they're all talking about basically having the highest tension through a stretched position for hypertrophy purposes. So if that's the reason you're training on this, you basically want to have the most amount of tension. Say on a leg curl, you want it to be here. On a leg extension, you want it to be stretched here. That can be kind of hard with this machine. It can be done in some ways, but it's kind of hard to do, and that has to do with the length of the lever arm. So basically, one of the positives with this is you can change the strength curve. One of the negatives is the fact that it's just a little bit awkward to do. So let me just show you how I would set it up so you can have the optimal strength curve based upon research for both leg extension and leg. Basically, I would put the seat all the way back so you can lean back. One thing that is kind of cool about this, it has a rounded off pin, so when you're going forward, you don't have to press any lever. Kind of cool. And then when you're going back, you just press it down. Then what I would do if I have this machine, and what I've done with some others that I've had, is I would just mark the holes that you use most often. Because they're not numbered, it would be nice if they put numbers on here so you'd actually know where you were, and then you could write it in your logbook, but they didn't do that. Okay, so if you're gonna do leg extensions, you're gonna have this on the front of the pin. Something I'll talk about later in the video, this is bolted in. So if you want to switch sides, you got to move this all the way around the back. You actually have to pop this pin right here and then go all the way back. So you want to do it while it's unweighted. The position you want to get is you want to be able to have tension at the front of the movement, because right now there is no tension. There's no, because of where the arm's located, there's like nothing. You want the most tension right here. So what I like to do is put it so it's higher up, then you put the plate on. Now there's two things where you're gonna have to figure this out, play with it before you have a lot of weight on here. Because if you go too far, you can press this arm and it'll swing all the way around. You obviously don't want that to happen. The other thing is you gotta figure it out because you gotta be able to get in the machine. Because there's not gonna be a crazy amount of tension right there, I can kind of just push this up and then get into it. Definitely like not as nice as what you find on a commercial machine, but it's gonna work. Then get in and you can do leg extensions. So at this is probably about optimal. There's not a crazy amount of tension at the top of the rep, which is fine. Getting it so it's just the same all throughout is not something you're gonna be able to do with this style of machine. It is something that you could do with, say, the commercial versions, but you wanna adjust it so the most is basically here. The most is not right here. You could load it up where you could feel a lot, but this is about where I would keep it for leg extensions. Then let me show you leg curls. So leg curls, if you're gonna move it around, take the weight off, adjust this, put this all the way back. So you want this adjusted so that there is tension at the top of the rep. You just don't want it to flip over whenever you're doing it. Get in here, place this all the way down, put the seat pad up high, then you can close the angle off, get under, place that, and now you have it. So I will say leg extension is definitely superior on this versus the ham curl, but I think it's doable enough. Okay, let's get back to the review. Okay, so as you can see, you can get to a point where you can get like somewhat nice strength curve. In fact, it's not gonna be consistent like you would find with a lot of more of the weight stack versions that aren't using like special cams and things, but generally you're gonna be able to get good training out of it. If you wanna spend $4 or $5 grand, you can get something that is more optimal and better. But for budget versions and that are using plates, this is really the style that you need to go with. And I think it's good enough to get the job done. I don't think it's the best. You can go with something like Bulletproof, but again, Bulletproof is gonna have a similar problem because they're using a rotary dial too. Okay, so when you're doing leg extensions, I think leg extensions feel the best on this. A lot of that has to do with the fact of how you can adjust the strength curve. But I will say, the seated curl version, there's a study that recently came out that basically showed that a seated curl was preferred because it increased muscle mass more than a prone leg curl. So most people are recommending seated leg curl versus prone leg curl. Honestly, it was a minor difference. I think it was like 9% growth for prone leg curl, 14% for seated leg curl. So not like a crazy difference, but if people are looking for what's optimal with your training, which most home gym owners are, because they're not spending like 4 hours in the gym because they got kids and jobs and a life, then I think the seated curl is nice. And I like a seated curl. One of the things that's nice about this is the adjustable thigh pad. Basically, there's a ton of adjustments. So you can get it way high, so you can get in the machine just fine, or if you just have massive quads, it'd be sick to have quads so big you couldn't even fit in this machine. Can you imagine that? It also allows you to lock really tight. It's a simple pop pin on the side, pop pin pulls out. You're then able to put it down all the way against your thighs. I will say, our first version we got of this, the pop pin was actually stuck. It was stuck so much so that we took a hammer to it, still couldn't get it off. Contacted Gronk Fitness and they like diagnosed the issue and then sent us a new one. So just for transparency, they did send us a new one. It was fixed, but the first one did have problems. Now, overall, the padding on this is very nice. The padding is actually much better in my experience than with Titans. Now, I haven't used Titan's latest version that has their new basically grippier vinyl. Honestly, this has a grippy vinyl too. The grippy vinyl is okay. There's like this thing today that because benches suddenly have grippy vinyl and everybody likes them, that every piece of equipment needs grippy vinyl. The reality is I don't want grippy vinyl on everything. You want grippy vinyl basically to hold in. So like the seat pad and back pad, grippy vinyl is great. One of the problems with grippy vinyl on this is if you're using shorts, man, it's gonna freaking pull the hair off your legs. It does on mine. So honestly, a slicker vinyl on this would actually be preferred, but I will say the vinyl on this is actually really nice, albeit grippy on every part. but the foam is much nicer than Titan's. One of the things with Titan's is they're just using like cheaper, thinner foam. Like there's a reason that this one does cost a little bit more than Titan. I would say generally it's just better quality, and that especially matters in the foam. You are going to be putting quite a bit of weight, quite a bit of force, and quite a bit of quantity in use with this thing. So because of that, you see this with like, say, university weight rooms that have leg extensions in their gyms for like decades. It starts to get like that U shape from where the leg goes. If that goes in too far, you're basically going up against metal and it does not feel good. This is using thick enough foam that it feels really good. But one thing on the thick foam, it does have a negative in that because that leg roller is thick enough, when you're doing ham curls, that does stop some of the range of motion because of the long seat pad combined with the foam on the leg curl. It's just gonna shorten some of the range of motion on the contraction point. So not a huge deal, but just something to be aware of. Now the back pad has 6 adjustments. This matters because you want a long range of adjustments because you're doing 2 different exercises that have opposite ends of what you'd really want during use. What I mean by that is like a leg extension. Basically, most of the evidence-based trainers that I'm seeing online that are talking about this say you want to lay back and open up your hip angle. So you want an open hip angle. One reason for that is because of where the quad attaches. So basically, you're gonna have a more stretched position. Whereas where the ham attaches, you actually want to be forward. So you want to be able to put that seat all the way back and basically lay back during leg extensions, which you can do with this machine. And honestly, there's a lot of commercial versions that you can't even do that with. It doesn't have enough range of motion. So this is actually superior in that regard. But then when you're doing ham curls, you want to stretch it far too. So you want to be kind of in a forward position. And this allows you to do both of those. It'll also just for general use, people that aren't caring a lot about that kind of stuff. If you just want to fit a lot of body types, it has 6 different positions. I do wish it would come a little bit more forward, but it definitely comes back far enough. Now, one thing that I wish there were locked in positions, because there is both for the rotary dial, there is for the thigh pad, and there is for the back pad, but there is not for the ankle pad. So basically the pad that's on the ankles, it's on a joint with a bushing and it just goes around. That's a cheaper way to basically make it fit all body types. You see this with a lot of this type of version. X-Marks does this, Titans does this. There's a company called GMWD, I think is what they're called. It's a really cheap one. Honestly, it looks really well priced, so I'd like to bring it in. It's like 350 bucks on Amazon. I'll put a link below the like button. Similar design, just smaller and overall cheaper. But all those are really using like that joint, so it's able to move up and down. I would definitely prefer a pop pin. I don't think it's a deal breaker, especially because all the machines are doing this. It doesn't matter as much on leg extension. I've noticed on leg extension, it does move a little bit, but because of your foot being there, it blocks it from moving too much. On ham curls though, it basically just goes all the way back to like this 90-degree position and rolls up higher than what I'd really like on a leg curl. It just, honestly, it's just kind of uncomfortable. It's not great. And combine that with the fact that it's using grippy vinyl, so it's rolling and basically pulling your hair. It's just not great. Honestly, that's the reason they do that is for a price point. But it would be nice if they made it so it was actually adjustable up and down the arm. Would probably cost a little bit more. But I do think this is a more premium version of this design. I do think this one specifically from Gronk would be worth adding to it. I just want to say, generally speaking, it is the best quality version of this style of piece that I've used yet. It's very good quality. The welds are nice, the powder coat's nice, the feet are nice. It's actually very stable because it's just a pretty big unit. If you want to make it even more stable, you can put plates on the back weight post. One thing that it's not stable in is in moving. It's just like these are made to be moved somewhat easily. It's the reason they put wheels on the back. This thing sucks to move. Not because it's super heavy, but because of where the wheels are placed. They basically centered the wheels on the seat pad, not on where the weight is distributed. So because of that, you lift it up, because like there's basically these arms over on the side, it just tips over. So if you're gonna be moving this, just understand this is not a piece I'd get if I'm moving it a lot. It would be nice if they had like an arm that stuck out from the foot, or foot that stuck out from the leg, that you could then attach a wheel to, and that would be like more stable. But just understand, like, it's got wheels, it's just not very easy to move. Okay, now another critique, and this is minor, but some of the cheaper versions of this have a pin, the stopper pin, that you can pull out. So basically there's a stopper pin so that it stops the movement when you're doing hamstrings, doing the ham curl, or you're doing leg extension. This one is bolted in. Now bolting is generally nice on most equipment. The problem is that forces you to bring that radial arm all the way around to the other side and pull the pop pins so you're not moving the other side of the thigh pad. So you gotta move it all the way around, all the way back, depending on what movement you want. It's, again, a minor thing because you just have to lift it up, but if you're gonna move it around, you have to take all the weight off, then move it all the way around, pull the pop pin, and there you go. Whereas all they would have had to do is just make it so it was removable. So I'd say minor, but some versions have better ones than this. Okay, so lastly, how does this compare to other machines price-wise? It's a little bit more expensive. It's currently $850. They say on their site it retails for $1,100, then it's marked down to $850. My guess is it's never $1,100. It's just to show you like, look, it's a deal, yeah. They also offer 10% off right now. I noticed they have sales quite a bit, so you can get it, you know, somewhere around $800, somewhere around there. They do offer free shipping, but when you compare that to some of the other options, Titan Fitness's honestly is probably the value play. It's gonna be around $700 if they don't have a sale. Right now, as of this recording, it's $650, and they often have more sales than that. So price-wise, this one's gonna be a bit more expensive than the Titan one. This one does have, I think, overall, better fit and finish and quality and foam and vinyl and that kind of stuff. So I do like it for that reason, but Titan's is cheaper. So if you want the same thing essentially in function, then go with Titan's because it's gonna be less price. Or if you want a similar function piece, there's that GMWD, which I haven't used yet, so I can't recommend or tell you what I think about it. But price-wise, it looks like it's a similar design with the radial. And then I'd say, honestly, for a lot of you, like just to get extra functionality for a home gym, man, the bulletproof isolator can do all the stuff that this can do and way more. It's gonna cost more, but not crazy much more, and there's so much more you can do with it. Honestly, for a lot of you, that's probably the option. Okay, so all in, I like it. There's things I don't like about it. There's better value options that are out there, but generally, I like what Gronk's doing. I hope they take some of the feedback and improve some of the things. Also, I look forward to seeing some of their other stuff. If you'd like to see reviews on any of their other equipment, let me know in the comments. This has been Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace.